Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about blush placement. I have so many caveats for this, and that is that I have one face. So that also means I have one face shape. So the way that things are gonna look on me, it's gonna be different than the way that they might look on you if you have a different face shape than I do. I am going to try to use like reference points on the face that will help you decide like where that placement would go on your face. But again, this is individual. Also, I had to decide if I should record with dirty hair or wet hair, and I opted for wet hair. So I have it clipped up so that it hopefully dries with some volume at the top. But anyway, that's just a whatever. Like most of my blush swatch videos, I have a little bit of makeup down, but not a lot because I'll be taking it off a couple of times. I'm going to be using two different colors to show you the different placements. And that's because I think that you may choose certain blush placements for certain colors more often. And I'll talk about that a little bit more as we get into it and you can really see it. But, you know, your neutral everyday blush might work better in a certain placement than something a little bit more dramatic. And like a dramatic blush is going to achieve a more dramatic effect in certain placements too. So there's going to be something that you just generally prefer for your face shape, but I'm hoping that this also helps you understand like when you want to do something different, where to go with that. So I think most of what I'm going to be using are MAC Glow Play blushes. And because the formula kind of works well for reapplying. And so this one is So Natural, and then this one is one of the limited edition shades in HD Cherry Tree. But there are similar shades. I think, Heat Index might be kind of similar to that one. So, and I may use this NARS Powder and Teased for a placement. We'll see. But powders just can get kind of weird if my face is damp from having removed something and putting something back on. Your choice of placement will likely vary based on your face shape and the overall look of the makeup that you're trying to do. The most common, I think, advice that you get for applying blush is the apple of your cheek, which is the center of the cheek and blended out sort of diffused center. So for this, I'm going to use a round brush. This is a Wayne Goss F2. So when someone tells you center of the cheek, you might already know what that's going to look like for you, or you might smile and find the roundness of your cheek. Okay? So that would be a placement, and you don't have to hold the smile. I'm going to because it will help me diffuse it. And you just want to blend outward from that center to get kind of that rounded apple of the cheek blush. On this side, I'm going to do the more dramatic color. One of the things I'm going to show you on this side, because that's what I do for my face, is I smile and then that's where the center of my cheek is, but if I put my blush there, it'll fall a little when I relax my face. I want to keep that height on my particular face shape, so I'm going to smile. That's the apple of my cheek. I'm going to relax, and I'm going to go from here. And it gives it a little bit more lift compared to that side. So with the dramatic color, you know, the brighter color, you can see a little bit more. This looks like a doll cheek a little bit, not in a bad way, just kind of how it looks. This looks a little bit more natural because it's a more natural color on my skin tone. I don't particularly prefer this placement for me, but if someone's talking about applying blush to the apple of the cheek, that's what they mean. They mean that center of roundness when your cheeks are at their most round. I have to smile for that to happen because there's nothing there. All right. So now what I'm going to do is try to just turn this into something else so that I can reduce how many times I take this on and off. Another placement is going to be kind of across the bridge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little bit of concealer right here. And so with this concealer, I just want to kind of block out the bottom of this blush. Now on a BK 109, I have So Natural, and I'm just going to do it right here. And this is where my cheekbone sits, but right underneath my eye. So it is the high point of my face, but sort of in that forward plane. And this, kind of a cute little look. It gives you kind of a sunburn look because if you weren't wearing sunscreen and the sun was hitting your face, this is the part that would catch the sun, especially, you know, depending on where your cheekbones are. And so I'm going to take this brighter color over here and do the same thing. Okay, and with this blush placement, I really also like to bring it across the bridge of the nose. And I'll 50-50 it there, so I got both colors. And you can see that blush placement. It's a very kind of like fresh summer look, kind of a blush, because it's mimicking sun, it's mimicking heat in your face. And now for the next, I could do concealer, but I'm actually going to take some of this off here. I like blush on the bridge of my nose anytime, really, because it helps the colors all connect, and it'll become a little bit more apparent when I show you this next placement. This is just the Glossier Skin Tint, which is what I have everywhere else on my face that isn't concealer. So just super light, enough to kind of even out my natural redness, so you can tell what's blush and what's not. So the next blush placement, and this is my personal favorite for my face shape, is kind of putting it high on the cheekbones, almost where you put highlight. And I'm going to show you a couple different versions of what that can look like. So right here, right, this is where my cheekbone is. And I'm going to kind of blend it back and up towards like my ear and my temple. So right like that. And that's a pretty natural way to do that. And by natural, I just mean it kind of looks like that could be a natural flush on my cheek. Taking that other color, I'm going to do the same thing right here. So I'm not yet covering this contour of my cheekbone, but I'm going to in a second. I just want to give you kind of a piece at a time. So that is one way to do it. I'm going to add a little bit more on each side just for drama. So you can see I'm really kind of stopping almost like right under my pupil, and I'm not taking it further in than that. And I'm not going below, like if I were to contour, my contour line would be about here. I'm not going below that for me on this type of placement. Now, the other thing that you can do, and I'm sure you've seen other people do this, is take that blush and put it right underneath your eye. And that can kind of just blend all of your makeup colors together. And it adds a little bit more of that sort of sun flushed kind of look, because it really captures that highest point of your face. Okay. And then we'll do it with the brighter color over here. So that's bringing it really where a lot of folks highlight, bring that blush all the way there. okay? So I hope that's coming through kind of the difference that can make, okay? Then you can get very editorial with it, which I also like on my face shape, but it is not to everyone's preference. So I'm gonna show you that. And that's where you're taking it all the way up on your temple. And with a blush that looks natural on your skin tone, I think this looks pretty cute, right? And you're gonna bring it a little bit under that brow bone and just really go for it. And then you get this kind of like glowing cheek, right? I like this look on me because it gives me like volume and lift where I want it. And then we'll do it with the deeper color. So a little under the brow bone, up into the temple, back to the ear, right? But I'm keeping it on the outer part of my face. So I'm not bringing it into the center. This is outer. And so you can see with a natural shade for me and a brighter shade for me. And, right? I think that this is a wearable way to wear blush. Some people disagree. I like it. And you can, clearly, you can go, right, almost skin toned blush, or you can do a very dramatic blush. And you can get a similar vibe, but easier, you know, calmer, more subdued, but still interesting. Or you can just kind of go all in with it. And this is a similar placement that a lot of, like, when you see like editorial blush, it comes up higher, it goes further back, it gives that contrast. Now we're gonna talk about lower blush placements. So I'm gonna take all of this off, reapply the skin tint and maybe some concealer if I need it. And then we'll do lower blush placements. And now we're gonna do lower cheek blush placements, which I think are less flattering on my face shape. So I also want to remind you, this is my face shape. So even if it's not as flattering on me, it doesn't mean it's not worthwhile to try it on you. I also think I have kind of a relatively small face, which it's just like a statement. It's a very neutral statement. We all have different, you know, whatever. I have a kind of smaller frame overall. A lot of the folks that I love seeing wear blush, I think they have just like a little bit larger face. I hope I'm saying that in the way that sounds like I mean to say it, but they just have more real estate for different colors on their face at one time. And a lot of times if I try to wear blush the way it feels like they're wearing blush, it looks like it's too much on me. Like it all, I don't know, it just looks like suddenly I've covered my whole face in blush. We're gonna start with something kind of what people are talking about when they say boyfriend blush, which is a weird name for anything, but it means this lower on the cheek. So right, if here was the center of the cheek, your boyfriend blush is coming like right here. Okay. It's kind of like Renaissance painting blush. It's like a lower on the cheek. And then for that brighter shade, so again, we're just, here would be center, and we're a little bit lower and over. I'm trying to keep it out of my fold right here. If blush passes that fold for me, it usually starts to look a little strange. Right, doesn't that look a little Renaissance-y? Those like paintings that with a lot of light and drama. Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit more on this side just so you can see it. And I am using two different 109s so that the colors don't get quite as muddy. Okay. And in this particular case, I'm trying, here would be like my natural contour line, so like the underneath of my cheekbone. And I'm trying to not really go too far below that line. Again, that's just from this is where my cheekbone is. So I don't want to go too far below that for me. Because that's when it starts to make my face look heavier. Kind of imprinted my face with the brush, that's fine. That's when it starts to make my face look heavier instead of necessarily looking like a flush. But think of it as apple of the cheek but blended down instead of blending center. I hope that helps. Then I'm gonna go in a little bit, maybe I'll shape it after actually. The other way that you can apply blush is kind of in your contour spaces, which means you're gonna take this like blush height, but go all the way back. So we'll do that now. So again, that's kind of where my contour would be. And I'm gonna take it all the way back to my ear. And then with the bright blush, it's gonna look extra fun. And I'm trying to decide, I don't really want to bring it up too high. So I'm gonna just kind of do a little concealer border where I want to limit that a little bit. There we go. So also you can clean up your blush with concealer just in case that isn't something you've tried before. If it gets out of hand, just a little concealer, or you can use like a translucent powder or a powder foundation and kind of buff around the edges too. So that's another possible placement of blush. And remember, makeup is for fun, so you can also put blush wherever you want to. So if I really wanted to go crazy, I could also, so I got it here, I'm gonna put it up here. Okay. So that was under the brow bone and like through my eyebrow. And just kind of blended. And then on my nose. See, you can use blush all over to create this blushed look. So we're really used to using, you know, contour, bronzer, highlight, and blush, and then also potentially like concealer and a lighter shade, all that stuff. You can create the dimension on your face that you want with a blush. You absolutely can. And, you know, if you want to do something simple because you're only using, you know, one product, if you want to do something monochromatic, if you just want to do something, you know, dramatic but in a color that you really like, why not use your blush, right? And I can blend this out so it's still pink, right? Like that is pink, but it's a little lighter. You can do blush on the tip of your nose, which gives you a really cold weather look, right? Because think of it, when you out in the cold and you just come in from the cold, it's gonna be the tip of your nose and like right here. It's like kind of that sun cheek, but here, and then on the tip of your nose instead of the bridge of your nose, that's gonna be your cold. So you can do whatever you want, right? That's the beauty of it, right? Little cold look, warm look. It's just, you can really have fun with blush. And that's one of the reasons that blush is one of my favorite makeup products, because it's a color product, but it's such a versatile color product. And I mean, you can use so many things. You can use an eyeshadow as blush. You can use a lipstick as blush. So I don't even mean like blushes specifically, but the idea of a blush is so fun because you can really kind of put it everywhere. This is all the same color, but my face has so much more dimension and life to it now. You can do the same thing with bronzer. You know, it's still a cheek color. It's fine. I just really like the way blush looks because it gives me that opportunity to play with a color in a way that I really enjoy. But I also understand that desire to want blush to look good on you, to know that you're, you know, trying to use it the right way for your face. And so I hope kind of walking you through some of the ways that you can place blush, you know, and what sort of markers on your face to look for, you know, like on top of your cheekbone, on the apple of your cheek, right where your contour is. Find those landmarks of your face and play around with where you like your blush. You know, if you're looking for, I want to look sun flushed, find the high points of your face where the sun would catch. It's probably where you're used to putting highlight. You can put highlight on top of the blush, right? You don't have to, but you can. And so think through those parts of it too. Is there a look that you're trying to mimic that blush is going to help? Is it just that you want to be able to add a little bit of that like color to your face and you're not sure where? You know, start with an apple of the cheek kind of a look. But don't be afraid to move it around, right? Like my favorite placement for blush is right here. Honestly, I'm kind of digging the way my skin looks right now, honestly. So just don't be afraid to play. And I hope this was helpful for those of you that have really been seeking, you know, how to wear blush any way you want, right? Any way you want. Let's put on this, I'm just gonna, real quick, this NARS Intense color. Should I take, whatever. And the reason is this NARS powder blush is going to get way more intense than that MAC one could. Just so you can kind of get an idea. Like, you're allowed to make it intense if you want. And you're allowed to keep it super subtle also if you want. But yeah, you know, just find that center of your face right here. Start there. And I would move kind of outward and see where you like it. And then you can also adjust the height of it. And a lot of that's going to be determined on what the apple of your cheek actually looks like and also the kind of where your cheekbones sit. And that's going to help determine what you like on your face as well. But don't be afraid to wear blush in the way that brings you joy, not just the way that you think looks best on your face. Those might be the same thing. Those might be different things. And it's okay to embrace that whole spectrum. Let me know if you have other questions about blush placements, things like that I might be able to help with. And yeah, leave that in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe if you liked this. And as always, there will be more blush content in the future. But just generally, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. My channel has been growing, which is kind of cool. It's weird to think that there are people like watching me. Anyway, I'm enjoying sharing, you know, my love of makeup and blush especially, and seeing my channel grow. So I hope that this is helpful. And again, let me know if you have any more questions, anything else that you think I can help with, anything that I didn't explain quite right. I thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.